Okay, are we also doing a review today?
No. Okay, 9.3, the quadratic formula. Okay, standard form of an equation, remember the standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c. That means the coefficient of the x squared is what you use for a, coefficient of the x is your b, and the number at the end is c. If it's not in this form where it's equal to 0, you need to make it equal to 0.
Okie dokie.
Okie dokie. Here is your quadratic formula. You will use it so many times you will eventually memorize it. Because you got to use it over and over and over. So write down the quadratic formula. Negative b plus or minus, this is a plus and minus sign. Plus and minus square root of b squared minus 4ac. The whole thing is over 2a. Not just this part of it, but the whole thing is over 2a.
Right now, it's this right, is the ax 2 squared plus bx plus c, is that also part of the formula as well?
This is where you get your a, b's, and c's to put into here.
Okay.
Okay. If you're given problems, and it'll tell you to solve them, first thing you're going to try is factoring. When you solve a quadratic equation, you're going to try factoring first, because that's the easiest, instead of having to plug it into this. So when you're given a problem, first thing you're going to try is try factoring first. Is that in standard form? So what do you do to get it in standard form? Subtract 21, right? So we have x squared minus 4x minus 21 equals 0. Okay, so first we're going to try to factor. 1 times 21, 3 times 7. Do either one of these subtract to give us 4?
3 and 7.
Okay, so it will factor. We don't have to use a quadratic formula yet. So put your x's. And what are we going to do with the signs to
That's
make
going to be negative.
7 will be negative, 3 will be positive. Okay, setting each factor equal to 0, we get a what?
Negative 3.
Negative 3 and a positive 7. Okay. Try factoring first. X squared plus 8x equals 9. Is that in standard form?
No.
No. You need to subtract 9, right? Okay, that's in standard form. You got 1 times 9 or 3 times 3. Does either one subtract to give you 8?
1 and 9.
1 and 9, and we need a positive 8.
So positive 9. 9 minus 1.
9 needs to be positive, right? So we have a negative 1 and a positive 9. Setting each factor equal to 0. We have the answers what?
1 and
1, negative 9. Okay. X squared minus 9 equals 0. What will that factor?
Yeah.
X plus 3?
Yeah. This is the difference of squares. Plus 3 minus 3. So setting it equal to 0, this one gives you -3. This one will give you +3. Okay, x squared minus 2x minus 2 equals 0. Is that standard form?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's equal to 0. The only way to get 2 is 1 times 2. Will that subtract to give you 2?
No.
No. We have to use our quadratic formula. Okay?
Oh, boy.
Wait, I want to rewrite this formula down one more time.
Okay. So what is our coefficient of the x squared? 1. So our a is 1. See, this coefficient is our a.
Okey dokey.
Our coefficient of our x
-2.
is -2. You gotta keep the sign with it. And the c is -2. Okay? So this is where you get your a, b, and c. And now that you've written down a, b, and c, write this down without the letters. Instead of trying to plug it in as you go, like put parentheses everywhere there's going to be a letter. So you have -b plus or minus. See, everywhere there should be a letter, put in parentheses. Then go back later and put your numbers. You got -b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So I've got parentheses everywhere there's a letter. Okay. Now the a is 1. A goes here and here. So you put 1 there and there.
Okay.
The b is -2. It goes here and here. And the c, -2 is that one right there. Okay. Negative, negative. So it's the opposite of negative.
Why did you put a 1?
I put a 1 here because it's an A, and I put 1 there because it's an A.
Okay.
Okay, so minus -2, the opposite of -2 is +2. Plus or minus. What is -2 times itself?
Can you scroll up?
Positive 4.
4. And then we have -4 times 1 times -2.
Science, can you move it up? We can't see it.
Sure. -4 times 1 times -2. Be a plus or minus? We got 2 negatives, so you could put plus here.
Could you scoot your paper? I can. Okay.
Okay, you have -4 times 1 is -4, so -4 times -2, +8. Okay, this part wasn't confusing, right?
No.
Okay, this part?
That's exactly where it went to hell.
This part, right here. -2 times -2.
No, I got it.
4.
I'm following you so far,
Yeah, okay.
but it's not a firm
Just
grasp.
see if there's 2 negative signs. put
No, it's a
plus.
positive, yeah. Okay, I get it.
8. Put the whole thing over 2. Okay? Now, under the square root, you have 4 plus 8, so let's simplify that.
Okay.
4 plus 8 is 12. Okay? 12 we can simplify. What perfect square goes into 12?
4 and 3.
Okay, let's change this into 4 times 3 then, instead of 12. Square root of 4, square root of 3. The square root of 4 will come out to the front as a 2, right?
Yeah.
So let's write this 2 plus or minus. The square root of 4 will come out as a 2 here. And we'll leave the square root of 3 there. All over 2. Okay, the only way that you can reduce one of these is if all 3 of these will divide by the same number.
Yes, they all do.
They all divide by 2. So divide by 2 is 1, divide by 2 is 1, divide by 2 is 1. Don't drop this off because it canceled it. It's turned into a 1. You still have the 1 plus or minus. This one, is that necessary? 1 times square root of 3?
No.
You don't need this one there.
No.
Do you need the one on the bottom?
No.
No, over 1 is the same as just this. You do need this one though. You have to have that one. Because 1 plus square root of 3 is not the same as just square root of 3. That's your answer. If it wants it later, it might ask for it to the nearest 3 digits.
So you do this.
To approximate to 3 digits, so you find out what this is, you would do 1 plus that, and you do 1 minus that. Okay. Let's do another one. Let's do y squared minus 10y plus 22 equals 0. Is that in standard form?
Yes.
Yes. Can you find a factor of 22 that will add to give you 10? No. Right? So what is our A?
No.
A is 1. Our B? Negative 10. And our C? Positive 22. So we put x equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4 ac all over 2a. A is 1, so we put 1s here and here again. B is negative 10. And C is 22.
Where did the 4 come from?
It's part of our quadratic formula.
Oh, that's right, okay.
Minus negative 10 is just 10, right? 2 negatives is a positive. Oops.
This formula is going to be on the test, right?
There'll be 1 on there.
Okay.
The formula, no.
Oh, what the heck?
There will be 1 problem that you have to do this to. If I remember correctly.
Is that a plus or minus?
That's a plus or minus. I made a
Okay,
mess
just
of
wanna
it. I don't know what that is. Okay, square root. Negative 10 times itself, 100. Minus 4 times 22.
I'm confused. 88.
Yeah.
How did A become negative 10?
B is
Okay, sorry,
negative 10.
positive times negative.
B is negative 10.
Negative times negative.
These are your B's right here.
Okay, yeah.
So we have 10 plus or minus. What's 10 minus, or 100 minus 88?
12.
Okay, we want to turn that into square root of 4 times square root of 3, right? Like we did last time. So we have 10 plus or minus, square root of 4 is 2, and we have square root of 3, all over over 2. Does everybody follow me there?
No, I got lost. Ahead, above that, I got lost.
Up here where we filled it in,
No. Wait,
this turned it positive, 2 negatives is a positive, and then minus 4 times 22 is 88,
right,
and then 2 times 1 is 2.
okay, yeah,
The only thing we did here is subtracted that, got it 12.
okay.
That's the only thing that changed, and then we turned 12 into square root of 4 times square root of 3. The square root of 4 coming out as 2. All 3 of these divide by what? 2. Divide by 2 is 5. So we have 5 plus or minus square root of 3 over 1. You don't need to put it.
Over, that's it. Over, that's it. That was get real excited when I understand stuff. Yes, I understand this. Oh, wait, no, I don't. Just kidding.
Okay. 3x squared plus 8x plus 2 equals 0. It's in standard form. Do we know how to factor that? Even if it factored, we're not really sure, so we're going to go straight to the quadratic. What is our A?
3.
A is 3, B is what?
2, 8.
C?
2. 8.
Okay, X equals negative B. Don't forget to put the opposite of B here. A lot of people, they just put B there and forget that it's the opposite of B. Plus or minus square root B squared minus 4AC all over 2A. Our A is 3. Our B is 8. And our C is 2. So we have negative 8 plus or minus. What's 8 squared? 64. 64. Minus, because there's no more negatives. 24. Over. Okay. So we have negative 8 plus or minus 64 minus 24 is what?
40.
40 over 6. What perfect square will go into 40?
20?
20 is a perfect square?
No, I'm guessing by your tone it's not.
Where's your square sheet?
Oh, I don't know, I lost it.
10 is 10 a perfect square?
That's right there.
4 is a perfect square. 4 times 10. 10 won't divide any farther, right? So that's going to be good right there. So we'll have negative 8 plus or minus. Square root of 4 comes out as what? As a 2. Okay. Do all 3 of these, divide by the same number. Divide by 2. So we have negative 4 plus or minus. Do we need the 1 in front?
No.
No. Over 3.
No. side.
2t squared plus 6t plus 5 equals 0. Standard form?
Yes.
Yes. We don't know how to factor that, do we? What is A?
2.
2, B,
6.
6, C,
5.
5. So your quadratic formula, x equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. A is 2, b is 6, c is 5. So we've got negative 6 plus or minus 36 minus
Negative
40 over 4. So we have negative 6 plus or minus 36 minus 40. 4. 4? Negative 4. Houston, we have a problem.
It's no solution.
Yeah. You cannot have a negative square root under the square root. No real number solution. You could get a solution with an I when we get to the part where you start using I for imaginary numbers, but we don't have real number solutions. So negatives under the square roots will give you no solution.
Is that how it's supposed to be written, no real number solution?
Yeah? So what they put in the book, no real number solution.
No,
It might say no solution, maybe in the math lab, but
it's just like right here.
it will probably say no real number. Okay, 3x squared equals 5x plus 4. Houston, what's the problem?
It's not in standard.
Not in standard form. It's not equal to 0. Let's leave the x squared positive. So we'll subtract 5x and subtract 4. So we've got 3x squared minus 5x minus 4 equals 0. And we don't know how to factor that, right? So we say A equals 3, B equals negative 5, C equals negative 4. I'm going to let you guys work on that, and I'm going to walk around and look.
Are you laughing at us?
Yes.
As a group?
Well, it looks like everybody knows what they're doing. Take it out, right? Some of you didn't follow my advice on waiting till the very end to put the A's and B's and C's. But I'm guessing that almost all of you are taking that advice. That will keep you from making mistakes. If you do, wait to fill in the blanks. What'd you get?
I think so, that's 5 plus or minus square root of 72 or 6. No, there's no. Well, 9. I think that's
When you got to there, you got stuck, right?
Yeah.
That's because that's as far as you can go.
That's why.
That's as far as you can go. If it was 72, you could have put square root of 9, but this one you can't go any farther. Did everybody get this?
Yes. Yes.
If you didn't, you can look at my work to see where you might have made a mistake at. And we're going to do a couple of them where we get this answer and then we get to approximations, and then we'll be done. Okay, did everybody get it now?
I am a little bit confused.
Here,
Would
take
have
this.
25 been positive and 48 been negative?
No, there's two negatives, -4 and -4. 48's not negative.
Oh, okay, that doesn't make it 4. Okay,
You
sorry
have
about
this
that.
negative
Right.
and that negative, so it
Okay.
makes it plus. Okay. Let's get two answers rounded to, let's actually do, this one says actually to the nearest 10. X squared minus 4x minus 7 equals 0. Is that in standard form? Yes. What is our A?
1,
B?
-4,
C?
-6.
Okay. X equals -b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. A is 1. B is -4. C is -7. Okay, opposite of -4 is +4. 4 squared is 16. Is this going to be plus or minus? Plus, because we have two negatives, right? 4 times 7, 28. All over 2. 4 plus or minus? Plus 16 plus 28. 44. Do we have a perfect square that will go into 44? 4 times 11, right? So this will now be 4 plus or minus 2 square root of 11 all over 2. Do these three things divide by?
Yes.
What do they divide by?
2.
It's 1, it's 1, it's 2. Okay, so this is 2 plus or minus,
Square root of 11.
and you don't need it over 1, right?
Right.
Okay, what is square root of 11? 3.3. Okay, we have 3.316, whatever, okay? That's already farther than we need it. Because it says to round it to the nearest tenth. So we have 2 answers. We have 2 plus, and that's actually 6, and 2 minus. Okay? 2 plus this will be 5.31, whatever, to the 10th is just 5.3, right? You add those, round it to the 10th. Okay? Do 2 minus 3.3166. Negative 1.31, right, so just 1.3.
So, wait, I got lost.
Square root 11 is this, so you have an answer where it's plus, and you have an answer where it's minus. 2 plus this, 2 minus this.
The 5. Where did you come from 1.3?
2 minus,
That would have subtracted that. Okay.
right, this is where you added, this is where you subtracted.
Okay.
Got 2 answers to the 10th. One more? Four x squared equals 4x plus what? Houston, what's our problem?
Not in standard form.
It's not in standard form. Minus 4x and subtract
Minus
1. So you have 4x squared minus 4x minus 1 equals 0. Now it's in standard form. What is our A? 4. What is our B?
-4.
Negative 4. C?
-1.
Negative 1. Okay, so we have x equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. A is 4, b is negative 4, and c is negative 1.
I thought it was -4.
It is.
Oh.
What did I do?
Okay, never mind.
B's,
I see now.
A's, and C. Okay, minus -4 is a positive 4. Plus or minus. 4 squared, -4 squared is 16. Is this going to be a plus or minus?
Plus.
Plus, because we've got 2 negatives. 16 over
Negative. Oh, wait, I missed it.
8. So we have 4 plus or minus square root of 32 over 8. What perfect square goes into 32?
4.
4. Does a bigger one go in? 16. Let's do 16 so we don't have to do it again. 16 times 2. Okay, so our friend is 4, plus or minus, what does square root of 16 turn into? 4 square root of 2 over 8. Do these all three divide by something?
4.
0.4. Okay? So we've got 1 plus or minus square root of 2 over 2.
And we have to
So-
have that one there, right?
You have to have the 1. What is the square root of 2? 1.414, whatever, that's far enough, okay? Don't round it to the 10th here, because after you do some of this stuff, you may need more than 1 decimal to see if it needs to round. So don't round it to the 10th until the end, okay? You put 3 or 4 of them to work with. And then at the very end, you can round it to the 10th. Okay, so we have 1 plus 1.414 divided by 2. And we have 1 minus 1.414 divided by 2. So these are exactly the same, just with a plus on one and a minus on the other. Okay, 1 plus 1.414 is 2.414 divided by 2. And what'd you get? 1.207? 1.20, so just put 1.2. This is an equals, not a negative. 1 minus 1.414. And then divide by 2. Negative 0.207, so 0.2. So we have negative 0.2 and positive 1.2. Any questions?